It's Toronto TV's newest travel show. I'm your host, Anita. For our first episode, we're going to take a look at the Central American countries of Honduras and Belize. First up, we'll take a look at Honduras. First, a little bit about the basics of Honduras. If you take a look at this map over here, you can see that Honduras is bordered by El Salvador and Guatemala to the west, Nicaragua to the east, and the Caribbean Sea to the north. The capital of Honduras is Tegucigalpa, and it's also its most highly populated city. As of 2005, Honduras' population was 7.4 million people. Now that we've done with the basics, we'll take a little bit of a look at Honduras' history. Once part of Spain's vast empire in the New World, Honduras became an independent nation in 1821. So if you refer to the PowerPoint presentation over here, you can see the flag that Honduras used prior to its independence in 1821, which was the Spanish flag, as it was a colony of Spain. And at the bottom of the PowerPoint screen, you will see Honduras' flag following independence, which is the Honduran flag. So after 2.5 decades of largely military rule, Honduras was finally elected its first freely elected democratic government in 1982. And during the 1980s, Honduras proved a haven for anti-Sandinistas, Contras, fighting the forces against leftist guerrillas, against the Marxist Nicaraguan government. Another notable historical fact about Honduras is that the country was devastated by a Category 5 hurricane by the name of Hurricane Mitch, and it caused approximately $2 billion in damages, as well as killing 5,600 people. Fortunately, if you refer back to the PowerPoint, when I visited Honduras during Christmas time, during the holidays, December 2006, I saw no traces of Hurricane Mitch, and the infrastructure was rebuilt in Honduras. So I'm going to play a video for you now from my Honduras trip. So if you could just refer to the screen, you will see a little bit of Honduran life, and it's the streets. As you can see, it's largely a rural and suburban country, which greatly contrasts to Toronto's urban areas. So going back to Honduras culture and customs, I'd like to talk a little bit about its language. So firstly, Spanish is the dominant language spoken throughout Honduras, though there are various other languages spoken, including English in the Bay Islands, as well as there are various other dialects in the minority areas of Honduras. With regards to religion, Hondurans are traditionally Catholic, though there is an increasing growth from evangelism in line with the 20th century rise in other portions of Latin America. As well, there are Jewish, Rastafarian, and Muslim minorities throughout the country. Another date I would like to mention in Honduran culture and customs is September 15th, and that's Independence Day. As mentioned before, the day that Hondurans gained independence from Spain. And so this date was September 15th, 1821. And every September 15th, Honduran school children go out to the streets and celebrate by dancing and singing. Before I move on to the next segment, I'd like to show you a little bit of Honduran culture and customs, which is creating artifacts, such as these. And as you can see, the intricate carvings and detailing, there's birds and sunflowers and various wildlife seen on this picture frame. So I'll just leave that here for you to see. And I'd like to move on to Honduran arts and entertainment. As evident from the photos, if you refer to the PowerPoint presentation, you will see that many renowned singers and painters come from Honduras. One notable singer is Guillermo Anderson, to the left of the screen, and to the right of the screen is a painting by Jose Antonio Velázquez, a famous painter in Honduras. Hondurans also love association soccer. The Federación Nacional Autónoma de Fútbol de Honduras runs the popular football league, while the Honduras football national team represents the country internationally. In fact, soccer, or football as they call it in Honduras, is so well respected that very good players are treated like national heroes. So moving on, I'd like to talk a little about a personal favorite of mine is Honduran cuisine. And Hondurans eat, as seen as in the PowerPoint presentation, tortillas, which is a staple aspect of their diet. Tortillas, as I mentioned before, are popular in Honduras, and when filled with meat, beans, and Honduran cheese, they're called baleadas. Plantains, beans, rice, and tortillas also make up the diet of a Honduran and are an integral part of a vast majority of their diets. As well, deep-fried chicken with chopped cabbage is a staple takeaway dish. Dishes on the coast and Bay Islands, however, tend to use more coconutty ingredients in their dishes. Now I'd like to move on to a personal favorite part of my show, which will always introduce each week, and that's Honduran social issues, or social issues in general, as I'm very active in developmental initiatives. And I'd like to mention a little bit about Honduran poverty. And Honduran is actually a third world country, a developing country, and it has one of the highest incidences of poverty and inequality in the Western Hemisphere. The situation of the poor, who usually live off small-scale agricultural initiatives in rural areas, was aggravated by, as I mentioned before, Hurricane Mitch, which occurred in 1998 and caused mass devastation and a lot of deaths. So after the massive loss of life and assets, Honduras embarked on a very ambitious poverty reduction strategy in consultation with civil society and other donors, such as the World Bank. So their goal is to reduce extreme poverty by 2015. If you refer to the PowerPoint screen over here, you will see a chart indicating the mortality rate of infants as well as young children under the age of 5. And in comparison to Latin America as well as Caribbean countries, Honduras has a higher infant mortality rate than their Latin American counterparts. And if you look to the right of the screen, you will see a picture of the Category 5 hurricane, as I mentioned, called Hurricane Mitch. So that portion ends the Honduran aspect of our show, and I'd like to move on to Honduras' British cousin, namely Belize. And I'd like to, before I move on into a more in-depth explanation of Belize, I also went to Belize in December 2006, and I'd like to share with you a clip of a rainforest, a Belizean rainforest that I visited.
Okay, this is cool. Dad, did you...
So that was the Belizean rainforest, and now I'm just going to share with you a couple of basic facts about Belize. If you refer again to the map, you will see that Belize is bordered to the west by Guatemala, to the north by Mexico, and to the east by the Caribbean Sea. The current capital of Belize is Belmopan, although the largest city, most highly populated, and former capital of Belize is Belize City. The name is shared by Belize River, which is Belize's longest river. And as of 2006, Belize stands at a very small population of around 300,000 people. So let's take a look at Belize's history. And again, before I delve into their history, I'd like to share with you a little clip of the Mayan ruins that I visited during Christmas time. that was a little of a taste of Belize history for you. And as evident from the clip that I just showed you, Belize was the site of several Mayan city-states until their decline at the end of the first millennium AD. And the British and Spanish disputed over the region in the 17th and 18th centuries. And eventually Belize formally became the colony of British Honduras in around 1854. However, territory disputes between the UK as well as Guatemala occurred that prevented Belize from becoming an independent state until 1981. And in fact, Guatemala did not recognize Belize as an independent state until 1992. Belizean culture and customs are actually very friendly. They have a very relaxed atmosphere when I traveled there. Everybody always friendly, always saying hello to you in the streets. As mentioned, courtesy is very important to Belizeans, and it's not uncommon for Belizeans to greet each other on the street even if they don't really know each other or are acquaintances. And in fact, it is considered actually rude if you enter a business establishment and do not even acknowledge the business owner with a nod or a smile. So I want to share with you a couple of Belizean phrases that you can use if you ever travel to Belize. And the first one is, "Hey, how you do?" And that means, "Hello, how are you?" Again, that's, "Hey, how you do?" The second one is, "You all right?" And that means, "How are you?" or "Are you all right?" Again, that's, "You all right?" The third phrase I'd like to share with you is buenos dias, buenas tardes, and buenas noches. And in Spanish, translated to English, that means good morning, good afternoon, and good night. And that's buenos dias, buenas tardes, and buenas noches. The final phrase I'd like to share with you is wediguan, and in Creole that means what's happening. Again, that's wediguan. And the eclectic sounds of Belizean speech is due to their wide demographic, and that includes Creole people, that includes Spanish people, some Chinese even live there in fact. So if you refer now to the PowerPoint again, you will see Belizean arts and entertainment. And to the left you will see Belizeans performing punta music, and two Belizean men are performing this music on traditional drum sets. Punta is the most popular genre of music in Belize, and it's distinctly Afro-Caribbean. Some similar music that is related to punta includes reggae, calypso, and merengue, if you're not familiar with punta itself. And a slower, more melodic variant known as paranda has been catching on recently in Belize. If you look to the PowerPoint again, you will see Belizean youth playing soccer. And in fact, one of the most popular sports in Belize is soccer in conjunction with basketball, and there's been enthusiastic support for league teams formed since the early 90s. So now again, I want to move on to my favorite part of the show, which is Belizean cuisine. So this picture is a picture that I took when I visited Belize, and it's a picture of a coconut seed. And a coconut seed's slightly different from a traditional coconut in that you use it for oils that you add to the dishes as opposed to eating the meat itself. And it's a very small sized coconut that you can fit inside the palm of your hand. So I want to also show you a couple of other things that I got from Belize. And they're renowned for cashew wine, and it says here, it's called Mr. P's Genuine Cashew Wine, made from Belize's finest hand-picked cashews. If you see the small print there. So that's something. And the second thing that I got from Belize is actually Belizean beer. And this particular brand is called Belikin. And at the very bottom you'll see a picture of the Mayan temple, which is where I purchased this beer. If you look to the back, it's called the Beer of Belize. It's their official beer, and it was made in Ladyville, Belize. Belizeans eat widely among all food groups, and the typical breakfast consists of bread, often homemade but increasingly bought from Asian shopkeepers who immigrated to Belize. And this bread can be eaten with cheeses, beans, eggs, or cereal, and topped off by milk for young people or coffee and tea for more adult tastes. Midday meals vary from lighter foods such as tamales, panades, which are fried maize shells with beans or fish, and meat pies, escabeche, which is onion soup, chimole, which is regular soup, and garnaches, which are fried tortillas with beans, cheese, and sauce. So their dinners are constituted of rice and beans, and meat and salad or coleslaw. So moving on, I'd like to discuss a little bit about Belize's social issues. And Belize, although better in comparison to Honduras, still has a very high incidence of poverty. And while significant progress has been achieved in several of the social indicators, the alleviation of poverty continues to be a major challenge for the country of Belize. And poverty levels based on the 2002 Living Standard Measurement Survey were unchanged at 33.5% compared to the 1996 survey data. However, Belize is poised to meet the Millennium Development Goals relating to education, access to clean water, child and maternal mortality, but other goals such as eradicating poverty are presenting a difficult time for Belize. And in fact, if you refer to the PowerPoint again, you will see a Human Development Index graph, and it indicates that Belize's human HDI rating declined from 58 in 1998 to 91 in 2005. And to the right of the screen, you'll see Belizean projects, which are more poorer areas of Belize. And you can see they're shanty towns, they're shacks, and it's a very unfortunate aspect of their life. So that concludes my exploration of Honduras and Belize, Central American countries. And if you'd like to find out more about Honduras or Belize, you can visit some of these sites over here on the PowerPoint. And that includes the Central Intelligence Agency's fact book on countries, the World Bank's website on countries, or Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. So I'd like to thank my families and friends and Joseph and his wife Anita for giving me the opportunity to do my very first show, so I hope you enjoyed it. And I welcome any comments or critiques, and you can send them at anita.y.lee@gmail.com. So thank you for watching Footprints, the travel show. I hope you'll join me next week when we explore a new country. And again, my name is Anita Lee, and this is Toronto TV. Good night.